I never thought I'd be hiding behind my own bedroom door, listening to my mother-in-law whisper to my 6-week-old daughter. But there I was, heart pounding as Louise's voice drifted through the nursery monitor. Sweet little Lexus, you've come back to me, haven't you? My name is Reese, and that moment changed everything. I'd been uneasy about Louise's frequent visits since bringing Emma home from the hospital, but hearing her call my daughter by her dead husband's name sent ice through my veins. The monitor crackled as she continued her one-sided conversation. I knew you'd find your way back. I've been waiting so long. I pushed the door open, forcing a smile. Louisa? I thought you were letting Emma nap? She straightened up from the crib, smoothing her expensive cardigan. Oh, Reese, dear. I was just checking on the baby. She's so precious, isn't she? The way she looks at me with those knowing eyes. She's probably hungry, I said, moving toward the crib. I should feed her. Nonsense, I just fed her with the bottle you left. Louisa's hand gripped the crib rail. We're having such a lovely time together. I didn't leave any bottle, I said, my voice steady despite my racing pulse. I've been waiting to nurse her. A flicker of something, annoyance, defiance, crossed Louisa's face before her practiced smile returned. Oh, silly me. I must be confused. Of course you need to feed her. That evening, I called my sister Sylvia. I'm not imagining things anymore, Syl. She's getting worse. What happened this time? I told her about the monitor incident, my voice shaking. She's convinced Emma is Lexus reincarnated. Her dead husband, Syl. She thinks my baby is her dead husband. Holy shit, Sylvia breathed. Have you told Isaac? How can I? He already thinks I'm being oversensitive about his mother's help. You know how he gets when anyone criticizes her. You have to tell him, Reese. This is seriously messed up. A door closed downstairs, Isaac home from work. I have to go. I'll call you tomorrow. I found Isaac in the kitchen, warming up leftovers. He kissed my cheek. How was your day? Mom said Emma was an angel. About that. I started, but his phone buzzed. Hold that thought, he said, checking the message. Mom wants to know if she can take Emma to her house tomorrow. Says she has some special outfits she wants to try on her. No, I said firmly. Absolutely not. Isaac's forehead creased. Why not? Mom's been amazing with Emma. She's got way more experience than either of us. She called her Lexus today. What? Your mother called our daughter by your father's name. I heard her through the monitor. Isaac's face closed off. You must have misheard. Mom's been struggling since Dad died, but she'd never... I know what I heard, Isaac. She thinks Emma is your father reincarnated. She's not well. Stop it, he snapped. Mom's been nothing but helpful since Emma was born, and you're throwing wild accusations around because what? You're jealous of how much Emma loves her? Tears pricked my eyes. That's not... I'm going to shower. He cut me off. And tomorrow, Mom's taking Emma for a few hours. You clearly need a break. I watched him leave, my hands trembling as I pulled out my phone to text Sylvia. Need your help. Can you come over tomorrow when Louisa's here? Bring your camera. Her response was immediate. On it. We'll get proof. That night, I lay awake listening to Emma's soft breathing through the monitor. A floorboard creaked in the hallway. I held my breath, waiting. Another creak, closer to the nursery. I slipped out of bed, careful not to wake Isaac. As I approached the nursery, I heard humming, an old lullaby. My stomach dropped as I recognized Louisa's voice. She stood over Emma's crib in her nightgown, one hand reaching down to stroke my daughter's cheek. Soon, my love, she whispered. Soon we'll be together properly again. I cleared my throat. Louisa jerked around, her eyes wild for a moment before recognition set in. Oh, I was just... She gestured vaguely at the crib. I'm staying in the guest room, and I thought I heard crying. Emma's fine, I said coldly. I can handle my daughter. Our daughter. Louisa corrected softly, then caught herself. I mean, our family's precious girl. As I watched her glide back to the guest room, I knew I needed more than just Sylvia's camera. I needed a plan. Because one way or another, I was going to protect my daughter from whatever madness had taken root in Louisa's grief-twisted mind. And God help anyone who tried to stop me. Sylvia arrived the next morning before Louisa, carrying a small duffel bag. "I brought everything we need," she whispered, pulling out a tiny camera disguised as a teddy bear. "It records when it detects motion." "You're sure it's legal?" I asked, bouncing Emma gently. "Completely. It's your house and you're protecting your child." She positioned the bear on the nursery shelf, angling it toward the crib. "Besides, if Louisa's not doing anything wrong, she has nothing to worry about." The doorbell rang and I tensed. Louisa swept in, carrying shopping bags. "Good morning, darling. Oh, and Sylvia's here too." Her smile tightened. "I thought we were having family time today." "Sylvia is family," I said firmly. "She's helping me organize Emma's closet." "How domestic." Louisa set down her bags. "I brought some special things for the baby. Family heirlooms, actually." She pulled out a yellowed christening gown. "This was Lexus's. I've been saving it." Sylvia caught my eye. I forced myself to stay calm. "That's very thoughtful, but we already have Emma's christening gown." "This one is more appropriate," Louisa insisted. "It has history, connection." She stroked the fabric. "Lexus would want his daughter wearing it." "Emma isn't Lexus's daughter," I said sharply. "She's Isaac's." Louisa's eyes took on that familiar, faraway look. "Of course, dear. That's what I meant." Throughout the morning, Sylvia documented everything while pretending to fold baby clothes. Louisa's strange comments. Her insistence on calling Emma Little One instead of her name. The way she positioned herself between me and my daughter at every opportunity. Around noon, Isaac called. "How's everything going?" "Your mother brought your father's christening gown," I said quietly. A pause. "That's nice of her. A family tradition." "Isaac, she said Lexus would want his daughter wearing it." "Stop twisting her words," he snapped. "I'm sure she meant, I'm recording her." I cut in. "Today, right now. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourself." The line went silent. Then, "You're spying on my mother?" "I'm protecting our daughter." He hung up. Sylvia squeezed my arm. "He'll understand when he sees the evidence." Later, while Sylvia distracted Louisa with lunch, I checked the teddy bear footage. My blood ran cold as I watched Louisa lean over the crib during Emma's nap, whispering, "I won't let her keep us apart, my love. She doesn't understand our connection." That night, after Louisa left and Isaac retreated to his home office, I fed Emma and put her to bed. The house settled into silence, broken only by the soft whir of the baby monitor. At 2 a.m., a shadow passed my bedroom door. I was already awake, waiting. I followed silently, phone recording in my hand. Louisa stood in the nursery, fully dressed, holding my sleeping daughter. "What are you doing?" My voice cut through the darkness. Louisa clutched Emma tighter. "She needs to come home with me. You're keeping her from where she belongs." "Put my daughter down, now." "She's not just your daughter." Louisa's voice rose. "She's more than you could ever understand. I see him in her eyes. The way she looks at me. She knows who she really is." Emma stirred, whimpering. I stepped forward. "You're going to hurt her." "I would never." Louisa gasped. "I love her. She's my second chance. My Lexus." "Mom?" Isaac appeared in the doorway, face pale. "What's going on?" Louisa turned to him, desperate. "Isaac, help me make her understand. Your father has come back to us. Can't you see it?" Isaac moved slowly, hands raised. "Mom, give Emma to Reese." "But now, Mom." Tears streaming, Louisa let me take Emma. I backed away, shielding my daughter as Isaac guided his mother out. I called Sylvia immediately. She arrived just as Isaac returned to the nursery. "I've called Leo," he said, naming his brother. "He's coming to take Mom home." He wouldn't meet my eyes. "I'm sorry, I should have listened." We need to do more than just send her home, I said, showing him the videos. This isn't going to stop. What do you suggest? I looked at Sylvia, then back at my husband. First, we change the locks. Then we get her help, real help, whether she wants it or not. She's still my mother, he said quietly, and this is our daughter. I held Emma closer. We protect her first. As we waited for Leo, I watched the sunrise through the nursery window, knowing this was just the beginning. Louisa wouldn't give up easily, but neither would I. The next week passed in a blur of security upgrades. We installed cameras throughout the house, changed the locks, and added motion sensors. But Louisa was craftier than we expected. She's been calling my friends, Isaac said one morning, rubbing his temples, telling them she's worried about Emma's safety. With us. I nearly dropped my coffee. What exactly is she saying? That you're unstable, that you're keeping her grandchild from her. She's twisting everything, Reese. A text from Sylvia lit up my phone. Check your email. Now. I opened it to find screenshots of a private Facebook group. Prayers for baby Lexus. My stomach lurched as I scrolled through Louisa's posts. Look at this. I thrust the phone at Isaac. Your mother created a whole group about Emma, calling her Lexus. There are dozens of members. Isaac's face darkened as he read. She's telling people you renamed her daughter against her wishes. That Emma is actually named Lexus after Dad. This is getting out of hand. I paced the kitchen. We need to... The doorbell rang. Through the security camera, I saw Louisa standing there with an elderly couple I didn't recognize. Don't answer it, Isaac warned, but I was already moving. I opened the door partway, keeping the chain on. Can I help you? Reese, dear. Louisa's voice dripped honey. These are old friends of Lexus's. They've come to see the baby. Her name is Emma, I said firmly. And we're not accepting visitors. The elderly woman stepped forward. We just want to see little Lexus. Louisa's told us everything. There is no Lexus here, I snapped, slamming the door. Through the window, I watched them console Louisa as she broke into theatrical sobs. My phone buzzed. Lana, my neighbor, calling. Reese, there's something you should see. She sent a video of Louisa in her backyard, conducting what looked like a ceremony with candles and photos. She's been doing this every night this week, always talking about bringing him home. That evening, while Emma napped, I searched Louisa's name online. News articles popped up from 20 years ago. Local woman claims deceased sister possessed family dog. My hands shook as I dug deeper. Isaac, I called. Your mother's done this before. He read the articles, face growing paler. I remember this. Mom was different after Aunt Sarah died. She convinced herself our dog was Sarah reincarnated. Dad had to send her to therapy. Did it help? For a while, until... He trailed off as Emma's cry came through the monitor. We rushed to the nursery. Everything looked normal, but something felt off. Then I noticed the window. Unlocked. I always lock this, I whispered. Isaac checked the security footage on his phone. Mom was here an hour ago. She must have gotten the spare key from Leo. Check the closet, I said suddenly, remembering the shopping bags she'd brought last week. Inside, we found a notebook wedged behind Emma's clothes. Page after page of Louisa's handwriting. Day 15. Baby shows clear signs of recognition, just like Lexus used to look at me. Day 23. That woman keeps calling my love Emma. She'll understand soon enough. Day 30. Made contact with medium. She confirms baby's true identity. Must prepare for the ceremony. The last entry made my blood freeze. Full moon approaching. Everything ready for the transfer. Baby will remember everything then. Just need to get her away from the mother first. Transfer? Isaac's voice cracked. What is she planning? A noise downstairs made us both jump. We crept to the landing and saw Leo in the foyer, looking guilty. I'm sorry, he blurted. Mom said she just needed to drop off some clothes. I didn't know. You gave her a key? Isaac thundered. After everything? She's our mother. She's grieving. She's dangerous. I cut in. And you're not welcome here anymore. After Leo left, I called Sylvia and Lana for an emergency meeting. We gathered around my kitchen table, the notebook between us. We need to go to the police, Lana said. With what? Isaac asked. They'll say it's a family matter. Then we go bigger, Sylvia suggested. Social media. Expose everything. No, I said slowly, an idea forming. We need to catch her in the act. This ceremony she's planning? That's our chance. It's too risky, Isaac protested. It's our best shot at getting her the help she needs, I argued. We'll be ready this time. As my sister and neighbor helped plan, I felt stronger than I had in weeks. Louisa thought she was the only one who could orchestrate events. She was about to learn how wrong she was. The full moon was in 3 days. It was time to set our own trap. The day before the full moon, Lana burst through my back door, waving her phone. You need to see this. Now. She pulled up a video of Louisa speaking to someone off camera. The timestamp showed it was from yesterday. The medium says the transfer must happen at midnight, Louisa was saying. Once we complete the ceremony, Lexus's soul will fully awaken in the baby. That woman won't be able to deny it anymore. What woman? Asked a male voice. The surrogate, Louisa spat. That's all she is. A vessel. She's trying to keep my husband from coming back to me. My hands trembled. Where did you get this? Your neighbor across the street has a security camera. Caught this conversation in her driveway. I called Sylvia immediately. Change of plans. We're doing this tonight. Tonight? But we're not ready. We have to be. She's planning something for tomorrow, and I'm not waiting to find out what. Isaac paced the kitchen. Let me try talking to her first. Maybe if I... No, I cut him off. Look at this video. She's not going to listen. The doorbell rang. Through the security feed, I saw Leo shifting nervously on our porch. Don't, Isaac warned as I moved toward the door. I opened it anyway. What do you want? Mom's not well, Leo blurted. She hired a medium. They're planning some kind of ritual for tomorrow night. She wants me to help get Emma there. And you're telling us this now? He looked down. I thought she was just grieving, but this morning I found these in her house. He handed me a stack of papers. They were printouts of reincarnation rituals, custody laws, and, my heart stopped, contact information for private investigators. She's having us watched? Isaac grabbed the papers. That's not all, Leo said. She's been recording your conversations. Every time she visits, she has a device in her purse. Sylvia arrived as we were processing this information. The cameras are set up, she announced. Every room plus the yard. Good, I said, because we're doing this now. Leo, call your mother. Tell her you've convinced us to let her visit Emma. What? No, I came to warn you, not... Tell her, I insisted, that I'm taking a nap and Isaac's working late. Tell her this is her chance. Understanding dawned on his face. You're setting her up. We're getting proof, I corrected, and hopefully stopping whatever she's planned for tomorrow. An hour later, Louisa's car pulled into our driveway. I watched through the security feed as Leo let her in. Reese is sleeping, he said loudly for the cameras. We should be quiet. Perfect, Louisa smiled, pulling something from her bag. Everything's ready. I crouched in the master bedroom, watching the nursery feed on my phone. Sylvia and Lana were hidden in the guest room, recording everything. Isaac waited in the garage, ready to block any escape attempt. Louisa entered the nursery, Leo hovering uncertainly behind her. She approached Emma's crib, pulling out candles and a small bottle. Mom, Leo started. Maybe we should... Quiet, she snapped. The timing must be perfect. She sprinkled something around the crib. Once I anoint her with this blessed oil, Lexus's spirit will fully emerge. That's enough. I stepped into the doorway. Louisa spun around, clutching the bottle. You're supposed to be sleeping. Like I'd ever sleep while you're near my daughter. She's not yours. Louisa shrieked. She's Lexus, my Lexus. No, Mom. Isaac appeared behind me. Emma is our daughter. Dad is gone. You're wrong, the medium proved it. She has his soul, I just need to wake it up. She lunged for the crib. I moved faster, snatching Emma into my arms as Sylvia and Lana emerged from hiding. It's all on video, Sylvia said, holding up her phone. Everything. Louisa's face contorted. You planned this? Leo, you betrayed me? You need help, Mom, Leo said softly. Real help. I'm trying to bring your father back. Don't you want that? Dad's dead. Isaac's voice broke. And you're scaring us. Louisa looked around wildly, seeing the phones recording her, the evidence of her madness captured forever. Her shoulders slumped. You don't understand, she whispered. None of you understand. We understand you're sick, I said firmly. And now we have proof. So you have two choices. Get professional help, or we take this evidence to the police. She stared at Emma in my arms, something shifting in her eyes. For the first time, I saw fear there. I need to go. No. Isaac blocked the door. You need to choose. Now. The night stretched before us, heavy with the weight of what would come next. One way or another, everything would change after tonight. Louisa sat at our kitchen table, hands wrapped around an untouched cup of tea. The blessed oil and candles lay confiscated on the counter, along with her phone and purse. I want to see the videos, she said suddenly. Show me what you recorded. Sylvia glanced at me. I nodded. The footage played on her laptop. Louisa sprinkling mysterious powder, muttering incantations, reaching for Emma with that wild look in her eyes. As she watched herself, her face crumpled. I don't look well, do I? No, Mom, Isaac said gently. You don't. The doorbell rang. Leo returned with a woman in professional attire, the crisis counselor we'd called. Mrs. Underwood? The counselor sat across from Louisa. I'm Diana. Your family's concerned about you. They're trying to keep me from my husband, Louisa said, but her voice lacked its usual conviction. Your husband passed away 3 years ago, Diana said softly. Tell me about him. Tears spilled down Louisa's cheeks. I miss him so much. When the baby came, she has his eyes. The same look. I thought, you thought you could bring him back? A sharp knock interrupted them. Through the security camera, I saw 2 police officers at the door. I didn't call them. I whispered to Isaac. I did. Lana stepped forward. After I saw this. She handed me a letter. It was from a lawyer demanding immediate custody evaluation of Emma. You tried to take my daughter legally too? I turned to Louisa. It's my right. Some of her fire returned. I have evidence you're an unfit mother. My private investigator. You hired someone to spy on us? Isaac's voice rose. Diana intervened. Let's stay calm. Mrs. Underwood, these are serious actions you've taken. The police entered after Isaac opened the door. They reviewed our footage, the letter, the ritual items. Ma'am, one officer addressed Louisa. We need you to come with us. There are concerns about harassment and potential endangerment of a minor. No, Louisa stood. I haven't done anything wrong. I just want my family back. Mom, Leo stepped forward. Remember what happened with Aunt Sarah? With the dog? You got help then. You can get help now. That was different, she protested weakly. It's exactly the same, Isaac said, and we can't let it continue. Diana spoke up. I can recommend an excellent facility. Voluntary commitment would look much better than being taken in by the police. Louisa's eyes darted between us, the officers, the evidence scattered across the counter. I don't want to go to jail. Then let us help you, Diana said. Really help you this time. My phone buzzed, a text from Sylvia. Check your email now. I opened it to find documents from Lana's contact at the courthouse. Restraining order paperwork, ready to file. A detailed record of Louisa's history of delusional episodes, witness statements from neighbors about the backyard rituals. Louisa, I said firmly, you have 2 minutes to decide. Voluntary treatment or we file everything we have. All of it. She crumpled into her chair. I just wanted him back, she whispered. The medium said it was possible. She promised. The medium took advantage of your grief, Diana said. Let's get you somewhere safe to work through this. Isaac? Louisa looked at her son. Will you still let me see Emma? After? When you're better, he said. When you can see her as Emma, not as Dad. She nodded slowly. I'll go. Voluntarily. The next hour passed in a blur of paperwork and quiet arrangements. Diana would accompany Louisa to the facility. The police took statements and evidence copies for their report. As they led Louisa out, she paused by the nursery. I'm sorry, she said softly. To all of you, but especially to Emma. I got lost in my grief. Get better, Mom. Isaac hugged her. Really better this time. After everyone left, I sank onto the couch, emotionally drained. Isaac sat beside me, taking my hand. I called the medium, Lana announced from the doorway. Turns out she's scammed other grieving families. Police are very interested in that information. Thank you. I squeezed her hand. All of you. We couldn't have done this alone. Family protects family, Sylvia said simply. The real kind of family, not the twisted version Louisa created. Emma's cry came through the monitor. A normal, healthy baby's cry. Not a reincarnated soul, not a vessel for someone's delusions. Just my daughter, needing her mother. As I went to her, I felt lighter. The battle wasn't completely over. There would be legal loose ends, therapy sessions, healing to be done. But for the first time in months, I could breathe freely in my own home. Sometimes protecting your family means standing up to family. And I'd do it again in a heartbeat. 2 weeks after Louisa's admission to the treatment facility, we gathered at Leo's house for what he called a family meeting. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. I've been visiting Mom, Leo announced, pacing his living room. She's different. The doctors have her on medication. Different good or different bad? Isaac asked, bouncing Emma on his knee. She's clearer, more present, but she's also angry. Leo stopped pacing. She wants to tell her side of the story. Absolutely not. I stood up. We're not giving her a platform for more delusions. It's not like that. Leo pulled out his tablet. She recorded this yesterday. Just watch. The screen showed Louisa sitting in what looked like a therapy room. Her usual perfect appearance was gone, replaced by simple clothes and unmade hair. She looked older, tired. I need to apologize, she began. The doctors here have helped me see what I couldn't before. After Lexus died, I couldn't accept it. I kept looking for signs of him everywhere. When Emma was born, she paused, wiping her eyes. She had his eyes, the same shape. I convinced myself it meant something more. Isaac gripped my hand as we watched. The medium, Louisa continued. She knew exactly what to say, what I wanted to hear. I paid her thousands of dollars to tell me my husband's soul had returned. I wanted to believe it so badly that I lost touch with reality. Turn it off, Isaac whispered. No, I said. We need to hear this. I endangered my granddaughter. Louisa's voice cracked. I terrorized my family. I hired people to spy on them. All because I couldn't face my grief properly. The doctors say I had a psychotic break, triggered by unresolved trauma. I'm on medication now. I'm seeing things clearly for the first time in years. The recording ended. Silence filled the room. She wants to make amends, Leo said quietly. Real ones. It's too soon, Sylvia spoke up from the corner. Words are easy. Actions take time. I agree, I said. We need more than one therapy video. There's something else. Leo pulled out an envelope. The medium who scammed Mom? She's being investigated for fraud. They want Mom to testify against her. Good, Isaac said firmly. She should. She will. Leo nodded. But she wants to do more. She's given me power of attorney. She's voluntarily extending her stay in treatment, and… He hesitated. She's signing over her house to you, Isaac. She says she needs a fresh start somewhere smaller. Somewhere without memories. I don't want her house. Isaac stood up, agitated. I want my mother back. The real one, not whatever version she became. Emma started crying. I took her from Isaac, soothing her as the others continued talking. The doctors think she can recover, Leo said. But it will take time, and boundaries. Like what? I asked. Supervised visits only, continued therapy, regular medication checks, no overnight stays, no being alone with Emma until she's proven stable for at least a year. And she agreed to all this? Isaac looked skeptical. She suggested most of it, Leo replied. That's how I know she's really trying. My phone buzzed. Lana sending updates about the medium's investigation. Multiple families had come forward, all with similar stories, all involving claims of reincarnation and lost loved ones. We should press charges, Sylvia said, reading over my shoulder. Against the medium, at least. Already done, Leo said. Mom's lawyer filed everything yesterday. Isaac paced the room, processing. I want to see her. In person. The doctors say she's ready for family visits. Leo nodded. But they recommend going one at a time at first. I'll go with you, I offered, surprising everyone, including myself. She needs to see us united. Are you sure? Isaac searched my face. Yes, but Emma stays with Sylvia during the visit. And we set clear boundaries from the start. Leo pulled out more papers, visiting guidelines from the facility, recommended boundaries from the therapists, legal documents about the house transfer and power of attorney. One step at a time, he said. That's what Mom's doctors keep saying. As we planned the visit, I watched Emma playing on her blanket, completely unaware of the complex adult drama swirling around her. She was just a baby, not a vessel, not a reincarnated soul, not a pawn in someone's delusions. Just my daughter, who deserved to know her grandmother once Louisa was truly well. Tomorrow, then? Isaac asked softly. I nodded. Tomorrow, but we do this our way. No compromises. The path to healing would be long, but at least now it felt like we were all walking in the same direction. Even if some of us had to take smaller steps than others, the treatment facility looked more like a high-end retreat than a hospital. Sunlight streamed through large windows as a nurse led Isaac and me to the visiting room. Mrs. Underwood will be here shortly, she said. Remember, if anything makes you uncomfortable, press this button. She indicated a small device on the table. Isaac squeezed my hand. Ready? Before I could answer, Louisa entered. She moved differently now, slower, less theatrical. The expensive clothes and perfect makeup were gone, replaced by simple slacks and a sweater. Isaac, Reese. Her voice wavered. Thank you for coming. She sat across from us, hands folded in her lap. The silence stretched until Isaac spoke. How are you, Mom? Better, clearer. She met my eyes. The medications help, so does therapy. I see things differently now. Like what? I asked. Like how sick I was. How I twisted everything to fit what I wanted to believe. She pulled out a small notebook. My therapist suggested I make a list of everything I did wrong. May I share it? I nodded. I stalked your family. I hired private investigators. I tried to steal Emma. Her voice cracked. I convinced myself my dead husband's soul was in my granddaughter. I endangered a baby because I couldn't face my grief. Mom, Isaac started. Please, let me finish. She opened the notebook. I manipulated Leo. I turned family members against each other. I spent thousands of dollars on a fraudulent medium. I planned a ritual that could have harmed Emma. She broke down, tears falling onto the pages. The medium's been arrested, I said quietly. 5 other families came forward. Louisa wiped her eyes. Good. She deserves prison. But I'm the one who chose to believe her, to pay her, to let her feed my delusions. Why did you record us? Isaac asked. During your visits? I thought I could prove Emma was responding to me differently, that she recognized Lexus's soul. She shook her head. The doctors say I was deep in psychosis, that grief can break the mind in strange ways. A knock at the door, Louisa's therapist joining us. How are we doing? She asked, sitting nearby. I'm telling them everything, Louisa said. No more secrets. Good. Transparency is crucial for rebuilding trust. I want to show them something. Louisa pulled out more papers. My treatment plan, my medication schedule, the conditions I'm agreeing to for any future contact with Emma. I read through them. The restrictions were even stricter than what Leo had mentioned. You're voluntarily giving up unsupervised visits? Isaac asked, surprised. Yes. Forever, if that's what it takes. I need to earn back your trust. Both of you. The therapist nodded approvingly. Louisa's made exceptional progress accepting these boundaries. What about the house? I asked. Leo said you're giving it up. Too many memories there. Too many triggers. Louisa straightened. I've found a small apartment near the treatment center. After I'm released, I'll continue outpatient therapy there. When will that be? Isaac's voice was tight. Not for several months. And even then, I'll need support. Structure. She looked at us pleadingly. I know I don't deserve another chance, but I'm fighting for one anyway. Not just for Emma, but for myself. The therapist spoke up. Would you like to show them your progress journal? Louisa handed over a thick notebook. Inside were daily entries tracking her thoughts, medications, therapy insights. Pages of painful self-reflection and accountability. I write to Emma, she said softly. Letters she can read someday when she's older. Explaining everything. Taking responsibility. May I? I reached for the letters. She nodded. I read the first one. Dearest Emma, I'm your grandmother and I owe you the biggest apology. I lost myself in grief and nearly lost you in the process. You are your own perfect person. Not a vessel, not a reincarnation, just a beautiful baby girl who deserves better than what I did. There's more, Louisa said. I write one every day. It helps me stay grounded in reality. Isaac was crying quietly. I reached for his hand again. This is a good start, I said finally. But we need time and proof that this change is permanent. I understand. Louisa closed her notebooks. I'll keep doing the work, keep proving myself, however long it takes. As we left the facility, Isaac turned to me. What do you think? I think she's trying. Really trying this time. I looked back at the building. But we stay careful. We stay vigilant. Agreed. He kissed my forehead. Thank you for coming today, for giving her a chance to explain. She's still your mother, I said. And maybe someday she can be Emma's grandmother too. The right way this time. The sun was setting as we drove home, casting long shadows across the road. Like those shadows, the past would always be there. But at least now it felt like we were finally stepping into the light. Emma took her first steps in our backyard during a small family gathering. As she wobbled between Isaac and me, I caught sight of Louisa sitting quietly in the corner, hands clasped tightly in her lap to keep from rushing forward. She's doing it. Sylvia filmed on her phone while Lana cheered from the sidelines. Emma plopped down on the grass, giggling. This time she crawled toward Louisa. May I? Louisa asked, looking at me. I nodded. Go ahead, Emma. Show Grandma how you can stand. The word grandma still felt strange, but Louisa's face lit up with pure joy. Not the manic energy of before, but something softer. Real. Come here, sweet girl, she coaxed, helping Emma to her feet. That's it. Just like that. Leo appeared with a cake. Happy first steps, written in wobbly icing. Mom made it, he said, in her new apartment's kitchen. First time baking since... Louisa trailed off. Well, since before. The medication makes my hands shake sometimes, but I managed. Isaac cut the cake while I watched Louisa with Emma. Her movements were careful, deliberate. No more whispered names or strange rituals. Just a grandmother playing with her granddaughter. The medium's sentencing is tomorrow, Lana mentioned, passing out plates. Will you be there? Yes, Louisa said firmly. I need to face her, to show her she didn't break me. We'll be there too, I said. All of us. Louisa's eyes welled up. I don't deserve this support. After everything— Stop, Isaac interrupted. You did the work. You're still doing it. That matters. Speaking of work, Leo pulled out an envelope. Mom's therapist sent this. 6 months of clean drug tests, perfect attendance at sessions, and a recommendation for reduced restrictions. My chest tightened. What kind of reduced restrictions? Small ones, Louisa said quickly. Maybe an hour alone with Emma. In your house with cameras, only when you're comfortable. I looked at Isaac. We'd discussed this possibility. Let's start with supervised visits in your apartment, I suggested. See how that goes first. Really? Louisa brightened. You'd let me host? Under conditions, Isaac added. Cameras stay on. No unexpected guests. All medications logged. Of course, I'll childproof everything. You can inspect it first? Emma chose that moment to take 3 wobbly steps toward the cake, making everyone laugh. Just like her mother. Louisa said softly. Strong-willed, determined. She caught herself. Sorry, I know comparisons are still sensitive. It's okay. I surprised myself by meaning it. She is strong-willed, but she's her own person. Yes, Louisa agreed. Her own wonderful, unique person. Later, as the sun set and Emma dozed in Isaac's arms, Louisa pulled me aside. I have something for you. She handed me a USB drive. All my therapy journals, the letters to Emma, everything. You should have them to decide when, if, she ever reads them. Thank you. I pocketed the drive. That means a lot. I know trust comes slowly, she said, but I'm patient now. The doctors taught me that real love means waiting, respecting boundaries, accepting consequences. You've changed, I acknowledged, because you forced me to face reality. You protected Emma when I couldn't protect myself from my own delusions. She touched my arm gently. Thank you for not giving up on me completely. Emma stirred, reaching for me. As I took her, Louisa stepped back respectfully, a small gesture that spoke volumes. Ready to head home? Isaac asked, gathering Emma's toys. Actually, I said, why don't we help your mom clean up first? Emma can nap in the travel crib. Louisa's face lit up. I'll make coffee. The normal kind, she added with a self-deprecating smile. No special herbs or blessed water this time. We all laughed, the sound carrying across the yard. It wasn't perfect. There were still hard days, moments of doubt, old wounds healing slowly. But as I watched Louisa carefully fold Emma's blanket, chatting normally with Sylvia about baby-proofing techniques, I felt the last knot of tension in my chest begin to loosen. Sometimes the happy ending isn't about everything being perfect. Sometimes it's about finding a new normal, building better boundaries and learning to trust again. Slowly, carefully, but completely. Emma would grow up knowing her grandmother. The real one, not the shadow of grief that had almost torn us apart. And that, I realized, was the greatest victory of all. Coffee sounds perfect, I said, following Louisa inside. Let's talk about those apartment visits. Her smile, genuine, hopeful, but tempered with hard-earned wisdom, told me we'd made the right choice. One step at a time. Just like Emma, we were all learning to walk a new path together.